angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth was stone, our ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Monday again. Damn. Why can't we just I'm offended by Mondays, so can we just have Mondays banned, please? Because they hurt my feelings and my emotions, and which is almost the same as feelings, but not. It's a different level of feelings, and it hurts my back, and it hurts. Anyway, I'll quit whining for a minute. So, let's see. Any updates as far as the Watchman news from over the weekend? None that I can speak of. Well, and some of them don't involve the Watchman news, but very interesting things to come. I will. I have to leave it at that for now. Wow. I mean, just wow. Anyway, anywho, updates as far as us are concerned. No, we might be doing a little bit more merchandise for a different company. That's cool. It's a possibility. So that's awesome. Anyway, we can again get a little more income in, so we can kind of not just build our business, but build upon our preps. And I will take a moment to shamelessly say, and I'm not going to spend all kinds of time on it. If you shop on Amazon, please use our Amazon link. You'll see the link in the description of the videos, as well as at thewatchmannews.com. It's also over at preppernurse1.com. So, hey, that was quick and easy, right? It's much appreciated. It doesn't cost you a dime extra, and it helps us out dramatically. So, as to this other company, I ran across a company. I was scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and I ran across a company called Absolute Kratom. And I'd been interested in Kratom for some time. And it's kind of one of those things to where I've probably asked 4 or 5 different companies a couple of real basic, simple questions, right? Not a big deal. But I'm one of those people that, if I need to know something, I'm going to ask somebody that would know. And I will take their advice. And so, there's a ton of different strains of Kratom. And so there's particular things that I am looking to get out of the Kratom, like pain relief and, something that will calm down my inflammation, right? Those are 2 key things that I want help with, and 4 or 5 different companies would never put me necessarily in a distinct direction, right? I'm not asking for medical advice, my God. I'm saying, hey, if I want an anti-inflammatory, something in an analgesic, what strain is best with that? That's it. I'm not asking, should I go visit my proctologist next week? Okay, I'm not asking for. And the answer is no, and I don't even have a proctologist. But anyway, just basic stuff. And then the $1 million question in my book is, hey, what is give me an idea of dosage here, right? So this company, Absolute Kratom, gave me straight-up answers yesterday when I asked them. And my hat's off to them. Kudos to them. Thank you. Thank you. After receiving such great help, and I hadn't even ordered anything yet. I plan to. I haven't yet. I got to build up the funds. They've actually got a pretty good price on it. 100 grams for like $29.99 or $29.95 plus shipping, something like that. Plus any orders over like $39.99 or whatever gets free shipping. That's pretty awesome. So, anyway, that's I can't wait to try it. Hats off to that company for being awesome. Because of their awesomeness, today I had to do some work with vinyl, and so I cut them out a few. I grabbed their logo off their website and cut them out a few decals and they'll go out tomorrow with the mail. And I appreciate great companies like that. And the guy said that it's a possibility when they get to a point to where they can do swag, they might throw that our way. So, hey, that works. That's awesome. So that's a pretty good update as far as we're concerned. So sticking along the lines of products, this does not involve us. There are a couple of things that I do want to discuss today in the monologue. And I'm aptly going to name the monologue something to the effect of wise food and solar ovens, okay? Because these are both things. Something with wise foods came up over the weekend, and then something last week, and I think I'd mentioned it during the show a little bit, about, I can't remember the name of the company, some company that does solar ovens, okay? Anyway. So with wise foods, wow, what a predicament. Apparently, and I did watch the video from Atlas Shelters. I know that's not the complete name of the channel, and I apologize for that, but Atlas Shelters, you'll be able to find it if you put it in the search box of YouTube. And, wow, crazy. Not only that, but I also retrieved the article that Atlas Shelters was referring to. And it's on a website I don't particularly care for, the Daily Sheeple. The Daily Sheeple has about 70% bull crap and about 30% truth. So it is what it is. But this is one of those 30% to fall in the truth category, okay? Wow, this is insane. So let me read this to you because, wow, I'm glad I haven't ordered any wise foods. I'll put it that way. Let's see. The title of the article, in case you're looking for it, it's again on the Daily Sheeple, and it's titled, Wise Food Storage Turns Over Purchase Records to Government as Part of Shocking Class Action Lawsuit. A class action lawsuit against Wise Company, a survival and emergency food storage company, was filed on February 15, 2017, so this has been a while back, for unlawful, unfair, and deceptive advertising and business practices. Last year, the company agreed to settle the suit and is expected to announce the settlement on its website by the end of business today. And this article was written on the 8th, March 8th. The class action, known as Miller v. Wise Company Incorporated, U.S. District Court, Central District of California, case number 517-VC00616-JAK-PLA, alleges that on its website and packaging, Wise made misrepresentations and omitted material information about how long its long-term storage or long-term food kits would last and how many people they would feed. Customers who brought the case allege that as a result, customers were induced to pay more for those products than they otherwise would have. The Daily Sheeple can report that not only did Wise Company allegedly mislead customers about the nutritional content of their products, it appears that the company handed over highly confidential consumer data to the government not once, but twice during the proceedings. The following phrases were all used in describing the complaint: false and misleading advertising, deceptive acts and practices, likely to deceive members of the general public. Here are the lawsuit's claims directly from the court documents. Wise Company fails to disclose that if the consumer in fact eats the number of prescribed servings each day necessary to make the food kits last for the advertised period of time, the consumer will effectively starve or suffer adverse health effects given that the food kits provide drastically fewer calories and nutrients than are needed to adequately sustain adults for the advertised periods of time. Wise Company's long-term and emergency food kits provide less than half the daily calories necessary for an average adult to survive. Consequently, a person who credits Wise Company's representations and attempts to survive on one of its long-term food kits for the specified period of time faces serious physical and mental health risks, including dehydration. We're going to get to this in a second. Hypothermia, okay? Hypotension, impaired renal and liver function, depression, and impaired cognition. Now here's the thing. Let's back up. Let's hold the phone for a second, because I've got some very serious issues with some of these allegations here. Dehydration. Okay, the mental health risk, we could play games with that, right? Because after a certain period of time, after starvation, yes, you have mental health effects, no doubt. Nobody's arguing that, okay? But mental health risks, as in like permanent mental health damage, I don't think so. But we'll let that go because we can kind of associate it a little bit, okay? But dehydration, are you supposed to be getting, your thirst quenched by food or by liquids? So I'm kind of confused on this dehydration thing. Why is dehydration something that's being factored in here? I'm sure that Wise Foods isn't claiming that their dry food also contains enough water content to last you the day. So I'm kind of confused with that, and I've got to pick at that, and we'll get there. We'll get there in a second as to why I'm trying to pick this apart. As you know, we don't represent Wise in any way, shape, or form. The only people, as far as long-term food storage, that we represent is Legacy Foods. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff, okay? That's who we represent. We don't represent Wise, and I'm not going to. But anyway, I have to jump in and defend that a little bit, because I'm telling you, I don't think they're claiming that they're going to quench your thirst. Moving on. Hypothermia. Their food is supposed to keep you from freezing to death? What? Yeah, I'm getting an issue here. Oh, wait a minute. Let me guess. If it was cold outside and you were really, really hungry, hypothermia could possibly set in a little easier, a little faster maybe, or something. I don't know. That is kind of a question and an exclamation mark, ... right? Because, really, not buying it. Now, hypotension, of course, if there was something in the food, it could possibly cause that. Same with impaired renal and liver function. If there was something wrong about the food, it could cause that. Depression? Well, yeah, I guess if you realized you were going to slowly starve yourself to death because you didn't buy enough food, you'd probably get a little bit depressed, right? Impaired cognition? Now that I can see. And the reason why is because if you aren't getting all of your dietary needs in their meals, and you're eating nothing but their meals for an extended period of time, okay, yeah, you're going to have impaired cognition. You're not going to be able to quite think straight. It goes up there along with that mental health risks part. Kind of a stretch, but yes, we can stretch and touch it. Okay, I don't know how we're touching dehydration and hypothermia, really, but, whatever. I've got other concerns, though. Some of the kits sold have an average of as low as 453 calories per day. A paltry amount of food by any measure, and certainly not enough to sustain an individual in the kind of emergency situation for which Wise Company foods are marketed. Well, no. You're supposed to have like 2,000 calories a day, okay? And I always tell people shoot for 2,500 or 3,000 calories per day is what I tell people to shoot for. Don't go with absolute minimums, ever. But a quarter of the absolute minimum is absolutely insane, okay? Now, this I do find issue with. This is something that does need rectified, okay? That is way, way, way off target. In fact, prisoners in Auschwitz were provided more calories than Wise Food Storage has consistently given their customers. Kind of a interesting factoid, huh? Wise Company turned customer data over to the court during the case's proceedings. Now, this is the part that I'm getting to. Perhaps worse than the alleged deception regarding the nutritional content of the food is the appearance that proprietary, highly confidential customer sales data has been disclosed in the case. As many as 99,405 purchase records have already been handed over to the government. Wise insists they have done nothing wrong, however, have agreed to settle this claim, turning over their customer information as a result. Wise claims that because customers have likely not actually had to depend on the food, no damages can be claimed in their official responses. Now, it's going to bring another product into view here. Let me have a sip of coffee, okay? There's a product on the market called EMP Shield, okay? And it's this little box, and the claim is that you buy this little box for several $100s. You can hook this little box up to your electrical system in your house, and it's going to protect your home electrical grid from the effects of an EMP. Can we say bullshit? Come on, say it with me. Ready? Bullshit. Right? Not going to happen. Not going to work. Okay? It's not that simple. Not that simple. That's just like people going out saying that you can go buy a surge protector at Walmart and that's going to protect you from an EMP. That's like saying that somebody can throw their items in a microwave and that's going to protect their items from an EMP. Wrong. Wrong. I heard that question actually come up on the Prepper Nurse 1, and he said the older ones will protect. No, incorrect. Incorrect. And I'm not trying to beat on Prepper Nurse 1. I'm just trying to give correct information. A microwave will in no means protect electronic devices from an EMP. Just accept it. Okay? Just accept it. I know it sounds like an easy, quick answer that everybody wants to be correct, but it's not. It is wrong. A microwave is shielded against certain types, let me say that again, certain types of radiation. An EMP is not radiation. It's kind of a mix in between a radio wave and static electricity. Okay? It's kind of a mix of those two. Nothing like radiation. And in fact, a microwave is only shielded to protect against a very, very small range of radiation. Okay? You can't crawl in your microwave to protect yourself from a nuclear holocaust. Okay? It's not going to work. It doesn't protect from that type of radiation. Okay? Folks, you know, it is what it is. But I'm kind of getting off topic here. This EMP shield thing. And this guy has been starting to go around to Facebook groups and stuff like that, and he's a CEO of the company. He's trying to wiggle his way in and get people to at least start checking out his product. Don't go there. Don't do it. It's a lie. But this is the important part of all of that I was getting to. Should an EMP happen, and let's say you bought some of these EMP shield devices, should an EMP happen, right, and wipe out everything in your house because that little stupid box ain't going to help you, who are you going to sue? How are you going to sue them? That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. I hope that guy gets nailed before SHTF. I do. I hope he gets nailed before SHTF. But, you know, if he's got good lawyers, I'm sure he's already got it all worked out, all figured out, and he's probably going to be free and clear. Okay? Wise Foods, on the other hand, I'm kind of wondering if there might be an ulterior motive here. So, anyway, let me continue. Wise expects discovery will show that plaintiffs have not actually consumed any of the products they purchased and therefore have suffered no injury, in fact, whatsoever, but instead merely exchanged one form of property, money, for another, food. Wise has produced about 13,000 pages of documents as well as summary sales information, which it has designated confidential, showing the number of individuals who purchased each of the long-term food kits, the purchase channel, Wise website, over the phone, through a third party, etc., the number of products sold, and the price of the products during the relevant years. While documents submitted during the discovery phase of the proceedings designated their customer list as confidential, this only prevents members of the general public from accessing it under Freedom of Information. The government still has it. Members of the class on average are eligible for a refund of $15 to $1,400 per eligible product purchased during the class period. The class website is up and running and can be viewed here, and it gives a link there. Wise Foods will pay $110,000 to the settlement administrator, almost $600,000 in attorney's fees for plaintiff and the company's own attorney fees. If all members of the class action request a refund, total liability to Wise is well over $2 million. Right? Yeah. Money that they will ultimately recoup from their customers, the very people who trust they were alleged to have violated in the first place. Sorry, not reading in so well there. Anyway, you get the point. My concern with all of this is, that the government might be trying to get a list. Remember, folks, it's a felony for you to have that much food in your home. What is it, 7 days? Over 7 days of food? That's not a joke. That is not a joke. All right, let me see if I can pull it up in a quick search here. Felony, more than a week food. Let's see. Let me put in illegal. There's something I'm not putting it in right. Legal to store food. Okay, this is probably going to get us where we want to go right here. Is stockpiling food illegal in the United States? The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibits the unreasonable search and seizure of a person, their home, and their belongings without a search warrant. For a search warrant to be issued, a probable cause must be established and approved by the judiciary court before a person and or their home and belongings are searched. Okay? Let's see. Executive orders. In 1962, John F. Kennedy signed Executive Order 10,998, right, titled Assigning Emergency Preparedness Functions to the Secretary of Agriculture. In this order, the federal government is given the authority to take over all agricultural production and distribution. It specifies that the security shall also develop plans and procedures for the proper utilization of agriculture items stockpiled for survival purposes. What does that sound like to you? Okay, now that was revoked. Let's see. Executive Order 10,998 was later revoked by Executive Order 11,490, which was then revoked by Executive Order 12,656, and has since been amended, okay? In November 1988, Ronald Reagan signed Executive Order 12,656, titled Assignment of Emergency Preparedness Responsibilities. This order gives the responsibilities to the federal departments and national security agencies, such as preparing plans and procedures to share between and among the responsible agencies resources and such as food, supplies, water, and workforce needed to carry out assigned responsibilities. Sorry, I had to cough. and other essential functions, as well as develop plans to set priorities and allocate resources among civilian and military claimants. The following two orders are based on the principles laid out in Executive Order 10998. Let's see. In June 1994, Bill Clinton issued Executive Order 12919, also known as the National Defense Industrial Resources Preparedness, which allows the federal government to seize all food and water resources from the public and private sector. The order describes the confiscation of food resources as all commodities and products that are capable of being ingested by either human beings or animals at all stages of processing. In this order, the confiscation of water resources relates to all usable water from all sources within the jurisdiction of the United States, which can be managed, controlled, and allocated to meet emergency requirements. In March of 2012, Barack Obama signed Executive Order 13603, better known as the National Defense Resources Preparedness, which enables the federal government to confiscate and redistribute all potable water, food, and whatever resources are necessary to protect the United States during a state of emergency. Let me say those last three words again. State of emergency. You know, we've been in a state of emergency like forever, right? This isn't like just a Trump thing. We've been technically in a state of emergency for decades, okay? Reading through these executive orders in their entirety can be a bit of a headache, but think of it this way. If the Commander-in-Chief of the military of the United States believes martial law is possible in our country, shouldn't we anticipate and prepare for it too? So here's the thing, okay? Yes. A quick answer, yes. It is somewhere here. Oh, I don't know if it's here. Let's see. It is actually illegal to hoard food, and I'll have to dig that up another time. But it is. You get the idea there, though. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane what's going on. So that's kind of the wise food part of it, you know. If I was... I think the government was seeking a database, is what they were doing, largely seeking a database. Wise Food's been doing it for quite a while. So, you know, keep an eye on Mountain House, see what happens with them. Legacy, I think, is pretty much kind of a new kid on the block, and they're still relatively small. So, you know, I'm not afraid from ordering products from Legacy whatsoever, and that's not just because we're affiliated with them, but it's because I'm not afraid, you know. Just kind of what it is. But I'm also not building all of our food stores on Legacy, okay? So I think that's important too. If you buy 3 years worth of food from a long-term storage food company, yeah, you're probably going to wind up with, you know, some issues come SHTF, right? So anyway, it's kind of crazy. Just keep an eye on this. Know that it's going on. Know that it's happening. And, you know, arrange your life accordingly. I would stay away from Wise Food Company. Just my opinion. Let me have another sip here. Okay, so let me get to the other part of this, and that's these solar ovens. So like last week, I seen BC Truck and Prepper Princess both making videos, and nothing against either of those two channels, but apparently the owner or member of a solar oven company, and I can't remember the company, I don't know. This ain't about trying to trash on a company. And they sent a letter out to all of their peeps, and they're basically crying that they're going to have to go out of business if they don't, you know, increase sales. So I thought, okay, I got to see this. So when I said I got to see this, I had to click on the link. It was actually BC Truck's link. I clicked on the link, brought up the website. $350, right? That's for the base model, no bells, no whistles. $400 you can get the one with accessories and stuff. It's a novelty item, folks. novelty item. Okay? You do not want your preps to be planned around solar cooking. Not a good plan. Takes a little long. It's very dependent on whether the sun is shining. I mean, that helps, right? It's not a prepper survivalist item. It's just not. Sorry. It's not. And I can't even find any niche that it fits into. I was trying to find a niche where I could call it something more, but I can't. It's a novelty item. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm not saying if you got one, you're a fool. I'm not. You know, it's cool. I wished I had one. I'm not going to go out and spend $350 for one. I've got aluminum foil in the kitchen there, and I'll find myself a little box that I'm good enough to be able to cook in, right? Pieces of cardboard with the aluminum foil to make my mirrors, right? My reflectors. Come on. $350, and I know that it's made a lot better than a cardboard box and aluminum foil. I get that. All right, but I've also done a few things in my life. I've made a few things in my life. I've designed a few things in my life, and I know roughly how much money is invested into those solar ovens. Okay, just a ballpark guess. And he would still be making money if he dropped the price $150. Okay, he would still be making money, and actually probably sell some solar ovens. Okay, so think about that. If my broadcast reaches out to this solar oven company or somebody affiliated to them or whatever, think about that. Stop gouging people. Stop being a douchebag. Okay? Drop it $150 and you'll see people buy your product. But it's a novelty item. Stop asking prime price for a novelty item. It's not going to happen. You had your day to where there was enough people that thought it was so cool and they couldn't live without it that they bought it. Now your sales are sucking because people are... the honeymoon period is over of the whole idea, and people are realizing, it's kind of cool, but no, not $350 cool. Drop it about $150. You'll still make a profit. I'm not a fool, right? I done figured out what it was on just a rough idea what it was costing you for the reflectors, which is the most expensive part of your product, okay? And I done figured that out. Roughly what it costs to have your tops injection molded and your the box, and drop your price $150. Go into production mode, right, and work a little bit for your money, right? I bust my ass, man. I bust my ass with what we do, right, for very little. Okay, and we're grateful for it. That's all we want is little. That's all I ask for is little. I'm not trying to gouge people. I'm not trying to make a fortune off every little thing we do, right? Because I have moral compass, right? Stop gouging people. You'll sell some. Just man to man, okay? Knock $150 off of it, okay? Sell some product. Quit your crying, right? We in some businesses, we set ourselves up for failure, okay? And if it's an item that is not needed, okay, you'll set yourself up for failure every time by overcharging. We're in the merchandise business. I know. I can say this. If we charge too much for an item, we're not going to sell it. Plain and simple, okay? It is what it is. So anyway, that's just kind of a little... man-to-man on this solar oven thing, because a lot of people are crying about it, and I don't know what to say, Be reasonable with your price. Let's see. Let me go ahead and continue on with headlines. I'm done throwing a fit. How's that sound? Okay, starting out with stuff I tweeted out Saturday. North Korea's satellites could unleash electromagnetic pulse. We've talked about this several times. It's back up in the news again. It is something to pay attention to. Just because it's a little man with a little man complex, don't think that that doesn't mean that he can't put a hurting on us. EMP technology is not super hard to understand. It is very, very viable that at least one of those two satellites could be an EMP weapon. Plain and simple. It's also, safe to assume that they may not be alone in their efforts to put our lights out. Pun intended. So just keep that in mind. This stuff is really hitting the news a lot lately. So is the deal going on in Venezuela, and I would say to be mindful of that as well. I do think, without a doubt, I am 100% convinced that the United States has its hands as much in Venezuela's power problem as what it gets. Okay? I really, really do. We can't expect people to just sit back and not do anything. That's unreasonable, right? Keep that in mind and get ready. Get ready. 17th weekend of Yellow Vest demonstrations in Paris. U.S. Embassy employee tried to carry mortar shell in luggage at Moscow airport. Is that crazy or not? Right? Suicide bomber attacks U.S. Kurdish patrol in Syria's Manbij. Venezuela's power grid targeted by another cyber attack, Maduro says. Now, that was a second attack. Oops, sorry. Since then, it is being continually attacked, right? It's not letting up at all. You gotta love this. ISP, which is Idaho State Police, confirms semi-truck carrying missiles involved in incident that closed I-90 Friday. Missiles. Not a big deal. Ukrainian hackers used quizzes to access private Facebook data, Facebook says. How many years have I been telling people not to take the quizzes on Facebook? Listen, folks. It's like the same thing, exact same thing, as putting any little game that you run across on your Android phone. Right? Don't cry when your stuff is hacked. Okay? Don't cry. You hacked yourself. Nobody else hacked you. You hacked yourself because you couldn't resist the urge to check out the coolness or to see what kind of potato you were. Okay? You're not a potato. Right? You're a human being. Okay? And a Facebook quiz isn't going to tell you how you're going to die and what year it's going to be and what it's going to say on your tombstone. Knock it off. Stop being impulsive, okay? Because you're going to get hacked. Anytime you do anything like that, you are giving permissions, okay? And unless you sit there and read the entire content of those permissions, right, which most people don't, and sometimes people lie, okay, stick with stuff you know is safe, okay? Stick with stuff you know is safe. Leave those quizzes alone on Facebook. Leave them alone. Not a good plan to get involved in them. Been saying this for like a decade now, literally like a decade now. I've been saying this to people, but they don't listen. They still play the stupid quizzes. Wise Food Storage turns over purchase records to government as part of shocking class action lawsuit. We covered that. U.S.-led coalition, this is from this morning now, U.S.-led coalition strike on Baghouz kills at least 50 civilians, says Syrian TV. Now this is going to come up again later on in the headlines after I have my sip of coffee. China grounds its 737 MAX fleet after latest gen Boeing jet suffers second crash in 5 months. Not good news for Boeing. I thought this was kind of crazy. U.S. Olympic cyclist and 3-time world champ Kelly Caitlin ends her own life at age 23. That's sad. That is sad. Just goes to show, even though people that you would think would be at the very top of life, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not. I don't know anything about this or anything. I just saw the headline and I thought I'd share it. It's for awareness more than anything. It's sad. Boeing cancels 777X launch event after Ethiopian Airlines MAX 8 crash. Safety precaution, Ethiopian Airlines grounds Boeing 737-8s after deadly crash. Oh, here we go. Marco Rubio blames Venezuelan power outages on explosion at imaginary German dam. This dude, right, this Marco Rubio guy is just insane. He's out of his damn mind. Completely out of his mind. Russia and China jointly developed heavy-lift helicopters to be delivered by 2032. U.S.-China trade plunges by 20% in first 2 months of 2019. This is kind of nuts here. Group of cops filmed beating unarmed black man in viral video. Now, I believe this is from the UK. You've got to see this. This is insane, man. This is like mind-blowing. It's real short, but you can see the cop. That's a pepper spray can in the cop's hand, and he's beating him on the head with it. Absolutely insane. This stuff is out of control, man. How many of them are there in there? So, you mean out of all the undertrained, over-steroid-fed imbeciles that are in that room, you mean they can't leg sweep him? If he's resisting, you mean to tell me they can't? They've got to hit him in the head with a blunt object as many times as they can? Really? I'm telling you, undertrained, over-steroid-fed imbeciles. Absolutely mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. There's a way to deal with things and a way to not deal with things. And they're consistently dealing with things in the wrong way. You got how many cops in that room? And we could only see one side of the room. One guy. Absolutely mind-blowing. Russian granny walks 90 miles a week to deliver mail to village, right? Now, this is going to be funny in a second, right? Russian, 83 years old, right? 83 years old, walks 90 miles a week to deliver mail. Okay? Remember that. Remember that. Top Russian MP compares Trump to Hitler, warns of new war. More global carriers ground Boeing's newest 737 after another deadly crash. I know a lot of these are dealing with the same story, but there's a lot of impact because of this crash here. Russia preparing to be cut off from the internet, but doesn't want to be disconnected. Not prepared enough, WHO issues dire warning about inevitable global flu pandemic. Ooh, scary. You better go get your flu vaccinations, right? U.S. military gets its ass handed to it in World War III simulation, says researchers. And this was carried out by the RAND Corporation, not just some run-of-the-mill idiot in a basement at mom and dad's. This is the RAND Corporation, right? This was a serious simulation that was played out. And I would agree with the results. okay, because of something called common sense. Now, we had one of the flag-waving kind of people that commented over on the Facebook page of, more or less bullshit kind of thing, right? Pull the flag out of your butt. It's so far up there you can't think straight. We couldn't properly equip our troops over in the desert, okay? We were running short of things. Those things that we did have were outdated. Okay, we were sending our troops over there in Humvees that weren't even armored to go drive up over IEDs. Okay, it's come back down to reality kind of moment, right? I mean, really, let's get really real. I mean, really? So now, right, we're going to take our under-equipped, outdated equipment, right, with our new military policies of wearing high heels, right? And this 93-year-old woman or 83-year-old woman will whoop our ass, okay? And I'm serious. Okay, just like last week or the week before, I talked about a story of a Russian dude that was in the hospital, got stabbed in the back with a knife. Literally a knife sticking out of his back, right? And video of him walking to the hospital because he says, screw this, I need a cigarette. He's walking outside to smoke a cigarette. A guy with a knife in his back. They are cut from a different cloth than we are, my friends. Much different cloth. And how we used to be badasses at one time. And I'm not saying we're not badasses in any case. I'm just saying we're not as rough cut as what the flag up the butters want to think. Okay? We're just not. Let go of that. That attitude is going to get a lot of people put in boxes and sent back home. That's what that attitude will get you. Haven't we already had enough brave women and men put in boxes and sent back home? Knock it off. We don't need to be warring with anybody. Russia doesn't want to war with us. China doesn't want to war with us. And it's not because we intimidate them. It's because they have common sense. War is not good. And just because we've got the companies that most control this country that profit from war, doesn't mean it's a good thing, moron. Don't push war. Don't push war. Unless they are directly coming in and trying to take our freedoms away, none of our damn business. Leave them the fuck alone. Good men and women are dying and being sent home in boxes for heroin, opioids, opium, and money, natural resources, gold. Crazy. Don't support that. Let's see. Trump cuts foreign aid spending, boost border security, funds countering Russia in 2020 budget plan. Israel's top politicians show voters the middle finger in provocative election posters. Yeah. I don't think they did it, though, like Bibi didn't do it himself or anything. This is his opposition, as far as I know, that put these up. But it's the truth, right? That is the truth. And that Bibi Netanyahu, right, he's double middle fingers to the world. I'm telling you. That guy gives no shits about anybody except his Zionist buddies, including Trump. All he cares about. Even their own people want him gone. We'll see how that works out. I bet he gets back in. I bet, of course, that he's democratically voted back in. I'll bet it. U.S.-led coalition sees no evidence of civilian casualties in Syria's Baghouz. Remember earlier I said there was 50 casualties? Well, the U.S. investigated itself. Free and clear. I know that surprises ya, but okay. Venezuela Parliament declares state of alarm over blackout. So there you go. There's the headlines. Got it all done in just under an hour. Wow. I'm going to sleep. No, we got a whole show to do. Okay. So for those here for the live show, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't click any buttons. Don't even look to the side because you might, I don't know. But just hang around. We'll be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Those that just watched the monologue thereof or the recording, if you actually made it this far before throwing your mobile device across the room or punching through your monitor, thank you very much. As always, God bless you, we love you, and be one with your spirit.